Okay, we are recording now. Hello, everybody. Thanks for thanks for joining us. We are very pleased to announce that this week our industry guest is Ehsan. Ehsan has worked on many international projects. He has worked on many different companies around the world, from Istanbul to London, and now in Vancouver. He has worked some very prestigious world-class projects, and he's been working on multiple different positions. And so he has a lot of precious advice and information for you guys. I hope you enjoy our talk today. So feel free to ask any question you might have at the end of our talk today. The priority is with the third year students. However, after them, if you are second or first year student, feel free to ask your questions. Okay, Ehsan, go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and yeah, I'm Ehsan, and I'm the head of rigging and CFX in Icon's Creative Studio. It's an animation studio, mostly doing TV series for Disney Plus and Netflix. I joined them 3 months ago. They're based in Vancouver, and yeah, before that I was in Method for 3 years. I started there as a rigger, then it became lead after a while, and then I was a supervisor for a while. And before joining Method in Vancouver, I was working in Framestore London for a year as a rigging TD. And before that, for 6 or 7 years, I was working in many different companies in Istanbul, doing mostly commercials, TV commercials, animations, and a bit of VFX. And before that, Iran, many different companies, most of them are bankrupt now. Spent 3 years working with Hossein in Didar Film, which was at the time the biggest visual effects company in Iran. And so I learned a lot from them. Before that, I was just a hobbyist mostly. And so yeah, and how I started, I was at the beginning, I was studying industrial design, and then I got interested in AutoCAD, and then I moved my way into 3D world, 3D Max and Maya, and yeah, I mostly learned everything by myself and from friends. I didn't take any courses, but I bought a lot of courses online. I learned a lot from internet and searching, doing things by myself, and then facing problems, and then going and ask people, ask online to find the solution. So most of the things that I've learned are from internet. It's not like I learned everything by myself, but I didn't study animation or visual effects. Yeah, and some of the movies that I've worked on, the first one was Fantastic Beasts, the first one, and which was in Framestore, and then Infinity Wars was another one. I had the chance to work on rigging Iron Man. And then when I moved to Vancouver in Method, I worked on Thor. I rigged the Dragon. Dragon was the main asset that I worked on, and then Deadpool 2 was another movie that I worked on. I was the lead in that movie, and after that, we got a lot of smaller movies that are for Netflix. That were for Netflix, yeah, and yeah. So from them, I found my way into the industry, basically. First by doing commercials, then animated commercials, and then I was lucky to join Framestore for rigging. Yeah, that's the basic introduction for myself.
Great. Thank you so much. You were showing us before everybody joins. Actually, we have a lot more people joining now. You were showing us your WordPress blog. There was a
Yeah,
lot of cool stuff on it.
yeah. So yeah, I can hear my wife and kid from outside, so they're gonna join in many minutes. It's gonna be loud. Just be ready. But yeah,
We
so
love you.
yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen and let's see, screen two. Okay, so you should be able to see my okay, my blog. And yeah, here I have this lion that. Do you see this lion?
Yeah, it's showing.
Okay, so yeah, so this is okay. All right. So yeah, this is
Is it XGen?
yeah, this is XGen, and just this was an asset that we did just to.
Was it an R&D?
So yeah, so some sort of an R&D system that we did for to find out. Okay, I don't like these recommendations, and
I
yeah.
hate them. I hate them.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a project that I did with my brother. He did the modeling, and I was just trying to see if the if the auto rigger that I wrote works. So I've written a lot of auto rig systems, and it's getting better every time I write it. But yeah, this is the last one that I wrote, and so basically, it's for building such a rig, it would take just 10 minutes. You just run the code, and it builds the rig from scratch. It imports the latest model, and then it imports the joints, and it imports the skin clusters, creates the controls based on that. So everything is automated. It's not like I put the joints in here and then I rig the leg, then I connect it to body. No, we don't do that. We usually just what we do is we have scripts. Sorry.
You just select the model and press the red button, and it does the job.
Yeah. Get paid button. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's magic. Even it calculates the joints, locating the joints within the.
That's the only thing. Actually, that's the only thing I do manually. So I put the joints, and then I say, okay, these. So it puts the joints for us, and we have to reposition the joints, obviously. So at the beginning, probably the joints are going to be off, and we're going to move the joints, the hip and the knee, the ankle, and then press build, and it builds the rig. So so it's very streamlined. It's very easy to rebuild rigs, because when we usually automate things, we don't want to do anything manually, because then we can, for example, we have the option to go back and change the position of the leg and then rebuild the rig again. We don't have to hack things. It's very easy to make changes. So
it's
non-destructive. Yeah, exactly. So every time you make a rig, you're building it from scratch by just clicking one button. Yeah, and it worked. It works nicely. And the most challenging part of this was the hair, and it's because XGen is not the best solution, right? It's very buggy. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
if you can do a hair scene using XGen, I mean, you should just go directly to a company and find the job very easily. It's very challenging. So and there is not a lot of hair groomers and hair simulation artists. So there are two parts to our job, like rigging and CFX. Rigging is just putting the joints, putting the controls, connecting controls and joints, and then connecting the joints to the geometry. But then there is the CFX part, which is character FX, or some people call it technical animation, or shot finaling. It has many names, and some people even call it, some companies call it the final layout. these are all referring to the same thing. Okay, now it's now the family is here.
Oh.
Hey.
Can I say hello to Tina?
Yeah, Tina, can you come up? Here is.
Show your camera.
Okay, so yeah, let me just. All right, let me go here and then. Ooh, chicken. Okay, so this is the lady.
Oh, hi, Tina. Hello.
What's it?
You look, I'm Matthew's dad.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, you were.
So there are two parts to our system, and yeah, the technical animation part is the part that you do the simulation, like the simulation of the hair, simulation of the muscles, fixing the skinning issues. I'm gonna again share my screen again, and then because it's probably easier to. Yeah, so in here, for example, not all rigs are perfect, right? Sometimes it's just too much work to fix problems in the rig. Like for example, God. Tina, can you stop that, please?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, so.
Guys,
So now,
this is
like
my,
you can see in here, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
In here, there is the deformation is not the best, right? But probably it's not worth doing a very complicated rig that works in every single pose. So it's probably easier for us to go in the shot and add a soft modification, very simple soft mod or a cluster, and pull vertices around or smooth things so it looks fine in the shot. So yeah, so that is called, so basically fixing the geometry, crashes, and then maybe jiggling the belly, adding some jiggle to the belly, adding some jiggle and flexes on the muscle areas, and then simulating the hair. All of these are the ones that are called CFX. So yeah, these are the two main parts. And also if this one, for example, this one, the rig, yeah, the rig was done using Maya. So the skeleton is moving using the Maya rig. And then the muscles are rigged and simmed in Houdini. So if you're interested in rigging and CFX, I recommend learning Houdini. Vellum is a new system that is used for simulations in Houdini. If you search Houdini Vellum, you can see a lot of tutorials. There is a lot of resources about that, and then it just helps with the simulating cloth, fat, muscle.
Actually, we have multiple workshops on Vellum in our VFX program. So how do you come, Ehsan, have you had a chance to try Ziva and have Ziva Dynamics?
Yeah, Ziva is great. The only problem is that it's expensive for what it does. It only does muscles and skin simulation, tissue, fascia, and muscle, bone simulations. It doesn't do anything else. But if you learn Houdini, then you have the option to do cloth simulations. You can do hair, you can do fur, you can do feather. These are all very challenging that are not possible using Ziva. So if, for example, as a company, if I was an owner of a company, I wouldn't buy Ziva. I would buy Houdini, and then I would encourage everyone to learn Houdini because it's just a more robust and more versatile set of tools into one package. And if you learn some parts of it, then you're set. You can easily do a lot of different things. You're not stuck with just muscles. So yeah, so I tried Ziva. It's good. It's very good actually. It's a bit slow when you want to do quality work. But yeah, I'm just not
Yeah,
interested
for large size simulations like even the one that you have shown, if my experience shows that Ziva like goes like slow, very slow when it comes for like, especially maybe our resources are limited. So, but
yeah,
but Houdini can do like a better job
yeah,
in
definitely,
managing
definitely,
resources.
and there is more job for it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So if, for example, if you don't know Ziva, no one's gonna say, "Oh, you don't know Ziva, we're not gonna hire you." But if you know, like if you know Houdini, then it's a big plus, right? We are sure that you're gonna be useful in some way. You're gonna be useful in maybe doing a lot of different things, FX and fixing skin deformation and sorry. And yeah, so you need to, so if you know Houdini, you have a higher chance of getting hired, obviously.
Yeah. So Ehsan, as a highly technical artist, I see that you're doing sketching. You know, if you just scroll up.
Oh yeah, so if I
So
go here
I love the characters that you draw. So like, so what do you have for us? So as someone who has done gazillions of like technical things, then you start like doing arts. So what message do you think you have for our students that if they work on their design skills, so what's the importance of like design? Does it just for fun or it feeds back to your like character creation and art?
it definitely helps a lot because there is two parts in our job, right? One is the technical part and one is the artistic part. If you if you don't have a good eye, it's very hard and challenging. You have to, so your supervisor or your art director has to tell you everything, has to tell you what an elbow should look like when it's bent 90 degrees. But if you have a good understanding of art and a good understanding of anatomy, then you get less revisions, you get less notes. Because I'm not sure if you knew this, but when you go and work for a professional studio, you get tons of notes. This was something that I was not used to in smaller companies. You do something, people like it, you like it, and client probably likes it. But then in bigger companies, they assign you, for example, doing the simulation for, or doing the rig for this wolf. Then you do the first version, everyone's happy. But there are some notes. They say, okay, can you add this to the belly? Can you make the knee look better? And then you improve it, you send it again, and then they come back with new notes. And usually there are more than 100 version very easily on our rigs. Like we have the last time at
100
Method,
revisions.
yeah, last time in Method, I had a rig at version 400 something. So
400. Oh my God.
yeah, so we basically made the rig, rebuilt the rig 400 times, more than 400 times, and then send it for review. And then they came back with some sort of note. And this is very normal in the industry, especially in VFX industry, um, because everyone wants everything to look perfect. And if they have time, even if the asset or the shot looks good, they want to make it better, right? Because the art director is gonna sell himself by the shot that you're doing. So they're gonna push you to do more than you know, more than you believe in yourself. So there's gonna be tons of notes, and this means the less notes you get, the easier your job will be, obviously. And for that, you need to have a good understanding of um, anatomy. If you have good drawing skills, it would be really helpful. And I honestly, I couldn't draw like this 2 years ago. I used to sketch. I used to do a lot of sketching, but I couldn't draw and design characters. This happened after I bought my own uh, sketchbook. Just $10 from Walmart, and huge change happens.
So in
Honestly,
so in 2 years you self-taught yourself to design characters? Gee.
yeah, this is less than 2 years. Basically, after three to 6 months of practicing, I tried not to look at anything, or actually, I tried not to replicate anything. I just tried to memorize everything and then draw from my memory. So like, I would watch a movie. I would watch a like a animation, like an animation, and then I wouldn't pause and draw from it. I would just go to the other room, like, or turn the TV off completely, or turn my phone off completely, and then try to replicate the same thing that I saw without looking at the reference. So this way, my brain started to gather, like, memorize references. So now, after a while, at the beginning it's going to look weird and it's going to look bad, but then after 3 to 6 months you can see the change. You can see that, oh, actually I'm doing something that people like, so I'm not the only one that likes or hates it, so it's good. And this doesn't happen until you do a lot of drawings, at least an hour a day. For me, eh, an hour a day worked. I only drew when I didn't have anything to do, when I was waiting for something on the computer, or when I was commuting. We have this C bus that I always take to go to the other side of the river or sea, and then yeah, every day, and on the train. So I would commute at 1 hour to go to work and then 1 hour to come back. So 2 hours actually. But well, I didn't draw the whole time, but yeah. So probably 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours a day. It helps a lot. Yeah. So yeah, definitely it makes a big difference in your job.
So Ehsan, let's go back to like technical stuff. You have this random looking non-random sticky point generation API that you have written.
Yeah.
That's a very mouthful
Yeah.
sentence. Can you explain us what it is actually?
Well, yeah. So what this is that these points seem to be random on the body of this dog, but they're not. So next time when you generate the points, they're exactly in the same spot. This is important. Why? This is used in, for example, in generating fur on a character, because you don't want your fur to look different every time you open Maya, right? But you want the point that the fur are growing, you want them to be different. At the beginning you want everything to look random, but you want to be able to replicate that randomness next time. And this is just a very interesting way of generating points on a 3D surface, and yeah, that look random but they're not. So yeah, so this is mostly for if you want to write a plugin that creates hair, or if you want, for example, write a system that creates I don't know, spikes on a dragon. Maybe you just generate 1 point per spike, and then you parent your spike to that point.
Awesome. So Ehsan, among the projects that you can mention, you can talk about like the ones that you're showing now,
Yeah.
the Deadpool, and so the ones that already finished, and you can talk about them. What was the most challenging project that you worked on?
Yeah,
Most challenging character you did?
most challenging character was well, oh yeah, this one actually, like this is a good one. The This one is the um, Iron Man from Infinity War, And if I scroll to the part that does the yeah, so this one, growing armor. So the most challenging part of this was that it needed to look rigid, but it needs to conform to this guy's body. So it's soft basically, but it's supposed to look rigid. So that,
It's
well, that was the
both
hardest part.
soft and rigid together. Wow.
Yeah, so they didn't even know what they want. The hardest parts, the hardest or the most challenging assets are the ones that usually there is no reference for them. So this is one of those cases when nobody knows how it should look like. They just want something and they don't know what it is. Um, but
Just
yeah,
give us something cool.
yeah, they give us something cool, and then yeah, you have to figure it out, and it's very hard. And also, capes are always hard because it's supposed to look like a cloth, but director wants the cloth or the cape to like flow in a special direction or move realistically as a cloth, but be controlled by animation. So that's one other challenging um, asset.
So was there any development from the previous Iron Man? So like, is this Iron Man like how much of enhancement or development you added to this
This one
version
is a
of Iron
very
Man?
different one. This one, if you notice, this one doesn't really look like the previous one. It's a complete redesign for Iron Man. It's supposed to be nanotechnology. It's not like mechanical parts anymore. So it's a bit different. So we had to make completely everything completely from scratch. Everything had to be thought about how things are gonna move. So there are like these ones, for example. There are these armor parts of the forearm. These are exactly where the elbows are, and then we nobody knows because it's an elbow area. It's gonna bend all the time. It's a very mobile place, but it still needs to look rigid, and it's very hard to make it look realistic. Make it look realistically. So it should look realistic. It should look that it's working. Um, yeah, so it's very challenging.
Awesome. I love it. Ehsan, what was the so like is is this the other question that I had in mind was like what was the the character or the project that you are most proud of? Like,
Oh, so that
you know, which one do you love more? You know, just like simply like which one do you
okay. So
like? Do you think connected?
yeah, I like I like the dog and the lion that I did the most, just because those are the ones
I
that
thought so.
really yeah challenged me to learn new stuff, and I didn't have to do things that people like me to do.
Mm, mm. You
I
were
did
your
things that
own
I like to do.
director.
Yeah, so at the beginning, I think for a while, Thor was my favorite project, and yeah, this guy, the dragon, um, just because I did everything from scratch to the end, and it was yeah, it was a cool movie. I really liked this one, but then this
The,
is
the,
working
the,
for
direct,
others.
the director is Kiwi, by the way, Ehsan.
Sorry.
director of this one, this Thor that you like, is from New Zealand. It's Kiwi. It's Taika Waititi.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, look at that again. Oh my God. So, like, how do you go through the process of briefing? How you are briefed about this magnificent character? So, like, how do you know that how far you have to go? What are the details and everything?
So as I said, it usually happens in iterations. The first time, no one knows how it should look like. At the beginning, they say, okay, we want a dragon that doesn't have any wings and flies using thrusters. This is just an idea, and then
Wow.
you do a version, and they say, okay, that doesn't look good. Let's. So we're not usually briefed completely. They usually have something in mind, but it's very unclear, very vague at the beginning, and then even the director doesn't know usually, and it just builds up. At the beginning, no one knows that these guys are gonna probably like these guys, these creatures around Thor. No one knows how they're gonna die, but then people do different versions, and then okay, they decide that they should just become vaporized or something, and no one knows in the beginning. Uh, Director says, okay, there is a big fight scene. This guy destroys a lot of crawlers and then fights the dragon. That's the brief at the beginning. But then we make a version, show it to director, and then director it comes with new ideas and says, okay, I want him to push push Thor on the ground. Then the idea of okay, then Thor maybe uses his hammer to nail him, pin him down to the ground. These are the things that doesn't usually is not very clear at the beginning, but then you do versions and they like it, and then yeah, they brief you on top of what you did. That's usually the case. They
Interesting.
yeah, they make you do things from what they think is correct, and then you do that, and then they come back with new ideas based on what you did for them.
Awesome. You have some works that have been like very. Which one is that one? Oh, the Fantastic
Fantastic
Beasts.
Beasts, yeah, this
So,
one is the
what
first
did you do
movie.
on Fantastic Beasts?
I did a lot of stuff, but mainly was responsible for this creature, rampant. Oh, actually, I did some face shapes for this guy. Okay, that's reassuring. Yeah, this guy, Norlak, and then there is this rampant scene. If I can find it. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I did a lot of work here on many different assets, from digidoubles and different creatures,
And you
doing
said,
puppets, facial breaks. Sorry.
and you said this was your first feature film project
Yes. Yes.
back in 2015.
15. Yeah.
So, um, so what was your role on that project?
I was the rigging TD, rigging technical director. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was mostly responsible for this guy, for this rampant, which is like a rhino, buffalo, something, elephant.
All together.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah, but I don't have. It should be a very long. Yeah, there are some videos about that, like that show only rampant, but I don't have it here.
Okay, all good.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting to see like you have like oh that like very some of your very 10-year-old projects like the one that you won awards in on
Okay, this one.
so yeah that oh yeah that one so it's been award winning on on
Yeah, on CG Society,
yeah.
yeah, this won me a CG Society award, and then it got published in Expose, which was
I used to love. I still love that. It's such a cool,
yeah. At
CG
the time,
image.
I was learning composition and like how to compose a good image, how to use rule of thirds, and how to use complementary colors, and how to direct the eyes to point to what you're really interested in. And you can see like these what were they? Um, what were they
Crayon,
called?
crayon.
Crayons. If you can see, like random, it looks random, but they're actually pointing to the cat. And then these lines are pointed to the cat. So these are the things that draw your eye to where you want artists to look. So these are the part that I really and you can see that there is this Fibonacci spiral
Yeah, the
form. And
golden ratio.
yeah, so these are the things that I was learning at the time, and I tried to put it in practice in this image, and it worked out. Yeah,
This is for 2009,
it's 2011.
11.
Yeah,
So yeah, beautiful.
yeah, and
And
you
these are
can
your
see.
old.
Yeah, I wasn't the best artist at the beginning. You grow and you get better, right? It's not like
Exponentially, you grow
yeah,
exponentially.
yeah. I'm still not the best. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that you don't like give yourself a bit of time. Obviously, do a lot of hard work. I still sleep at 2 a.m. It's not like it it never stops, right? You always learn and you always improve. But at the beginning, it's fine if you're not happy with your work. Uh, you know
True,
you're gonna get better little by little, and then yeah,
true.
at some
So,
point, yeah, at some point you're gonna look back and say, wow, I know a lot of things.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
So before moving to Q&A, Ehsan, do you have any other thing you want to show us, or we can go back to camera?
Uh, Not really. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These are all.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Do a lot of
any
personal work.
awesome guys? ehsanhm.wordpress.com. Ehsan, can you go back to camera?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let me just activate.
So before we go to the Q&A, so we let students ask their questions. If you want to point out just 3 major advice for our students, what are them?
Get a sketchbook.
That's one.
That's the one most important advice that I never took seriously. So a lot of people say that you hear that from everywhere, and you say, okay, I'm not gonna do that. That's just a waste of time. Probably even if I get it, I'm not gonna try anything. But get it and then draw every time you're sitting in a train on a train or in the bus. Yeah, just draw a lot of stuff, write a lot of stuff. If you can write things, write it in your sketchbook and then draw something that represents that writing. So that's one. And then create a blog for yourself, share your work with everyone, be active online. So this is the second one, be active online. um, I know people, many different people that are very good, really good, but they don't share anything. They don't share anything, not because maybe they don't want to, but because they're lazy or they don't think they don't see the benefit. But then, if you share enough, first you're gonna get feedback. A lot of people from based on the likes you get. Don't look for likes. But if people don't like it, know that there is a problem. You have to improve yourself, right? So it's a very good way on LinkedIn, mostly on LinkedIn. Obviously, this is a professional, right? We're not doing this. Obviously, we love what we do, but in the end, it's going to bring money. So be active online. Go on LinkedIn. Connect to people that are going to help you. The posts that they're having, the things that they post are going to help you push yourself, and also post things that you do, although they're gonna look ugly at the beginning. It's fine. Post it and get feedback from professionals, from people online. Always welcome critics, and don't get mad if people don't like your work. It's fine. We cannot make everyone happy. It's impossible. Just use, even if people don't like your work, that's a good thing, because now you know why. Ask them to see why they don't like it, and then you can improve your work. I can see a lot of people post their works, and they're the most successful ones usually. The most successful ones usually share what they know, share what they learn, and also you can build up a network that can bring you work. So if you make good friends, try not to just connect to people. Make a conversation, ask questions, and then ask for feedback. And then at some point, you're basically making a good network that can bring you freelance work, and also other in-house work, and can bring you money in the end. So it's a win-win. You're learning something from them, and then you're making a network so other people can refer you or so you can find job easier, basically. So these are the two most important ones. Do I have a third one?
Learn Houdini.
Well, no, like the third one would be learn coding, I think.
Yeah, coding. Yeah.
Learn coding if you want. Obviously, you don't have to. Or let's no. The third one would be find what you love the most. Because if you find what you love the most, it's gonna bring you money from somewhere that you don't expect. You basically you're not afraid of losing your job, right? Because you're loving what you do, and when you love what you do, you're gonna learn it, not because it's gonna help you make a better work, but because you enjoy doing it. And to be honest, our job is very hard. Visual effects, animation are one of the most challenging jobs in the world.
It's super hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And honestly, the time that I've spent learning visual effects, or I'm seeing people or my friends, the time that they've spent learning CG, if they spent on medical, they would be probably a brain surgeon or something at this point. So it's really hard, and you cannot be the best. First of all, find out what you love the most, and by doing many different things. Obviously, you have to do many different things. You have to. That's why universities are good, because you're not concentrated on one thing. When you go and find a job very quickly, very early in your career, then you're stuck with that one thing that you do. But if you go to university, they make you do different things, and that's a good opportunity for you to find which one of these disciplines you love the most. If you love games, then don't don't study. Don't go play games.
Yeah.
If you because that's gonna bring you money. If you love games, make games. Then what I'm trying to say is, we cannot become the best in our job unless we love what we do. Unless you love what you do, you cannot wake up early in the morning, or you cannot stay very late until 2, 3 a.m. to learn new stuff. You're saying, okay, I'm getting paid 50K, it's fine. My bills are being paid and I have a good life. Yeah, but that's what you're gonna get for 10 years, and probably after 10 years, your knowledge is gonna be outdated, and then new people are gonna replace you. that's what you get in this industry. If you're interested in this industry, then you have to become the best or one of the best. Aim for the best, then you become one of the best. Maybe not the best though. So yeah, and that's only possible if you really love your job. And if you don't, you're probably wasting your time because it's very challenging. But then if you love it, then that's great.
That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, that's
Amazing
the best.
advice. That's the best advice. Okay, so it's time for Q&A. We've got 15 minutes, so please ask your questions. You can turn on your mic and ask your question, or you can type it in the text box. So then we'll read it. Any question?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Zara. I'm a second year studying special effects. I was just wanting to ask what it was like to be first told that you'd be studying, well, not studying, working overseas, like moving to a different studio, and what that was like, and like all the changes you had to go through to like adjust to the workload and like the people there.
Well, for me, it was at the beginning. I was very excited because I was gonna join a very high-rated studio. Like it was one of the best studios in the world, so I was very excited. And and it's London, right? So it's a good city. You've heard a lot. I haven't. I wasn't. I didn't know how London looked like. I only saw it in movies. But when I went there, I didn't like it actually. It was too.
I told you.
Yeah, London was awful. Yeah, so it was too crowded, too much noise, and too much work. Too much work. Crazy. Those studios are crazy. Canada studios are a bit more laid back, but London is just, if you can avoid it, avoid it. It's a very good place if you want to go, and maybe if you don't work in this, if you don't mind working a lot, because it's close to a lot of countries around it. For me, it was very good, because I could go to Spain very easily. I could go to Italy. On the weekend, everyone goes to different countries, so it's good for traveling and seeing the world. But for living and doing work, it's very hard. For me, it was very challenging, also because I was always working in smaller studios. Frame Store is a huge studio. It's not a mid-level studio. So I jumped from very small studios to very big ones. That was a huge jump. So for 6 months, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just confused. Everything was a question mark for me. And I think all my colleagues hate me now because I was just too much questions. I was asking questions all the time from everyone. And yeah, I would recommend, it's probably better for you to transition slowly, because I had a very hard time. There are way too many things to learn. It's better to learn gradually. Yeah, so yeah, that was a very hard time for me. That's probably why I hate London. It's one of the reasons that just too much work pressure, and the pipeline. There is this huge, complicated pipeline that you don't know anything about. It's not Maya, right? They give you Maya, and you cannot do anything because anything you learn doesn't apply anymore. You have to learn their system. Yeah, so for me, it was very challenging, very hard.
Johnson asked after finishing his school. Well, actually, Johnson Ehsan is a self-taught. He didn't do school in visual effects. He did on industrial design. So anyway, after finishing school, what was the downtime you had before you went on your first job in the industry, and how would you overcome that?
Yeah, that's actually for me. I never had that time. I never had that time because I was always doing some some side work during the university. Even when I was in military, in Iran you have to go to military for 2 years, and even in military, when after 2 p.m. you're free, you can do anything you want. I would go and work in a graphic design company, and I understand that at the beginning it seems impossible. At least for me, it seemed impossible to find a job when I didn't have a job at the beginning. Before university, I was in high school, and I would say, okay, how do you find a job? It's really it seems impossible. But then connections come in play. If you like, if I like, when I was going to a military service, in the afternoon, I would had to take a bus and go back to where we slept in, like basically all the soldiers sleep at night. I had to commute by bus, and then when I was in the bus, I would see this place, this animation house school. I could ignore it, right? But then I didn't. One day I just got down, went there, and I asked questions, and then they were teaching this drawing, figure drawing courses, and I took it. I didn't know it would play such a huge part in finding a job for me. At the beginning, I was just trying to do whatever I love, right? So I went there, and I made a good friend there, and then that friend introduced me to another friend that had a company that were looking for Maya. I was doing Maya for myself as a hobby, and then that's where I found my first job. And then after that, I met another friend in that place that was working with Hossein. So yeah, he introduced me to Hossein, and then I got my second job. And then yeah, so you see, connections are the ones that beginners are missing. That's why it's very hard, it's very challenging to find a job, because usually recruiters, when you send them a demo reel, they look at it, and then they look at your LinkedIn and see where have you worked before. If you haven't worked in a good place, then probably they're gonna just ignore you, because they don't want to spend a lot of time training you, right? They're looking for someone who's trained already. So yeah, but then connections come in play. If you have good connections, if you have a good network of people who trust you and who see you as an active, very productive, and with good knowledge, then you're good. Don't worry about work. Worry about what you love first, and then they offer you a job. They come to you with offers. Don't go send your demo reel to 1 million people. Instead, work on your demo reel. Make a very, very strong demo reel that gets 10,000 plays in LinkedIn. Then you know that you did a good demo reel. And then if it's seen by 10,000 people, probably a lot of them are going to be recruiters, and probably a lot of them are looking for some people like you. And yeah, don't go chase the work. Let the recruiters chase you by doing high quality work.
Amazing. Any other question? You can turn your mic on and ask the question.
Hi, I have a question. Hi. So the question is, how often do you have to develop new skills? Because the industry changes, the software changes, the demand changes. How frequent do you have to adapt to the environment?
Basically every day. Honestly, there is no one day that I don't script. It's very rare. Especially, I think it really depends on your level and what you're interested in, because you can get away without scripting in many different levels. If you're a junior rigger or a junior maybe CFX artist, then probably you don't need to do any scripting. But then I encourage you to do. If you find yourself repeating one task more than maybe 10 times a day, then write a script that does it for you. Don't do it the 11th time. Don't do it. Just write a script. I know at the beginning it's hard, but do it. Write a simple script that does that simple thing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? We can have a couple of more questions. No one? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ehsan. That was a very insightful talk. We enjoyed looking at your background, the projects that you worked on, your advice. I think they were the most important parts, because I'm sure that our students will follow them, and hopefully one day they will be a good artist like you that work on incredible projects, world-class projects. So this session, everybody has been recorded, so you have the chance to come back and review it again, and it will be uploaded on the third year, under your week 8 industry talk subfolder for you as well. Okay, thank you so much, Ehsan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
and
guys.
say hello to Mahsa and Tina. We'll talk later on.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Yeah, and have a great time.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.